Hello and welcome to the Break Free from Toxic Love workshop. I am Kendall, and you're probably here because you're either still stuck in your toxic relationship, wanting to get out, but you're struggling to do it alone. You're stuck in a trauma bond that keeps pulling you back into this toxic person, even though you know you want to move on, but you can't stop obsessing over them. You might be here because you've recently gone through a breakup from a toxic relationship, and you feel like not only is your heart breaking, but you're realizing you don't know who you are, what brings you joy anymore, and the thought of moving on into the future on your own is terrifying. You might also be here because it's been a few months since your toxic relationship ended, but you realize you have a bit of a pattern of dating the same types of emotionally unavailable, avoidant, immature, possibly even narcissistic, toxic kinds of people. And you don't ever want to go through the chaos, the heartache, and the pain all over again. You want to make sure that the next relationship you get into is one with someone who is secure, emotionally safe, emotionally mature, adores you for who you are and who you can be your true self around. And that is all waiting for you on the other side of this. This is what this workshop is here to help support you to get there. I'm going to show you exactly how you get there. So let's dive in. Firstly, let me introduce myself. I'm Kendall. I'm a certified women's trauma and relationship coach, integrative somatic trauma therapist, Aruka healer, and somatic dance facilitator. My area of expertise is that I help strong, ambitious, deep feeling women, such as yourself, heal from toxic, abusive, and narcissistic relationships so you can become secure in yourself, so secure that you never end up in a relationship like this again. And instead, you're able to call in the secure love that you have always dreamed of. The reason I got into this work is something very personal. It began with me. So for nearly 10 years, I was in back-to-back unhealthy toxic relationships. My first love, my high school sweetheart, but it was extremely codependent. We were both anxiously attached, and it brought out a lot of toxic behavior in me and a bit in him too. My next relationship was my first experience with a narcissist. He was a grandiose narcissist, love bombed, gaslit, emotional abuse, which I didn't even really realize was emotional abuse until I was out the other side. It was incredibly hot and cold. It was incredibly volatile. He was an alcoholic, and it left me feeling so much shame, such a shell of myself, that I allowed myself to be treated in this way by this kind of person. But unfortunately, I didn't do enough, well, really any healing of this, and I went straight into another relationship with another narcissist, just one that was slightly different. This relationship was with a covert narcissist. It was 4.5 years of fleeting highs and incredibly low lows. He was a major avoidant. He cheated multiple times, and I stayed. It was mainly because it was in a deep, deep trauma bond. He had alcohol and drug addictions. He was a very wounded, traumatized person. I tried to fix him, but he refused to plug in and try and heal himself. But throughout it all, I always saw the best. I always clung onto his potential. But ultimately, all that led me to was completely burning down my own house, complete self-abandonment in the pursuit of not feeling abandoned by this person who was ultimately abandoning me and breaking my heart in little tiny ways every single day. And so finally, he cheated on me again. But this time, something was really different within me. This time, I was like, I need to be done, that I cannot tolerate this anymore. And so in that breakup, it was a huge turning point for me, because I decided that I was going to do the deepest healing of my life to make sure that I never ended up in this. I realized how much of a pattern this was, because these were just the 3 core relationships. In between all of these, I was barely single. I was stuck in situationships with, or talking or chasing the same kinds of avoidant, toxic fuckboys who took advantage of my kindness, who ghosted me, who made me question my self-worth. It was a pattern. And I had to take radical responsibility, which is a key word, key phrase in my world, for how I was contributing to this cycle. And so fast forward 6 months after my breakup, I broke my toxic relationship cycle, met the love of my life, and have been in this loving, healthy, secure relationship for over 3 years now. And it was honestly all because I chose in my breakup not to avoid, not to get back into dating, not to go back to my ex. I chose to do the deepest somatic trauma healing of my life. Not just healing the trauma from that relationship or from the last, but healing root cause trauma, which is a big part of what we're going to be going into today. I know right now that so many of you out there can relate to my story. And I'm living proof that it is possible to free yourself from your toxic relationship cycle. And so are so many of my clients. These are just some of the screenshots of some messages that have been sent to me more recently. I want to also introduce you to a client of mine, Chloe. And she came to me trapped in an extremely emotionally abusive relationship with an incredibly toxic narcissist. She had tried to leave before on her own, but she kept going back because her trauma bond was so strong. He had such a grip into her, but she knew she couldn't do it alone. She knew she had to leave, but she knew she couldn't do it alone. And so working with me, we got her out of the relationship, freed her from her trauma bond, healed the trauma from that relationship, as well as the root cause from her childhood, which allowed her to break her toxic relationship cycle, because this was not the first toxic relationship she'd been in. It was not the first narcissist she had been with. It was a pattern. She went from being anxiously attached and just wanting to be wanted to now being a secure woman in life, in love. And she's now even dating a secure man who makes her feel safe to be herself for the first time in her life. And I've got a little video here too, so you can hear what she has to say.
Hi, my name's Chloe, and I worked with Kendall last year, and she helped me leave the most abusive, manipulative relationship that I'd ever been in my entire life. I was terrified. I didn't know how to get out of it, and Kendall coached me through that entire process. She not only helped me get out of that abusive relationship, but she helped me heal and then learn why I was attracting these type of men, because I was my entire life. She helped me learn how to understand that and how to start attracting the right type of men. So it's taken me a long time to heal, but I'm finally feeling more like myself. Even wearing this colored lipstick shows me that I'm feeling more like myself because I never was allowed to. And I've just started dating someone with 7 dates in, and he is the most wonderful man and so secure and grounded. And I feel so secure and grounded. And I never thought this was possible. I have multiple feelings of being overwhelmed because I never thought this man existed, but he does. And I'm okay. I'm healed. I'm out of that terrible place, and I wouldn't have been able to get to that place without Kendall. And what she taught me in our coaching, I use every day, like somatic release, feeling and processing my emotions, managing my anxious attachment, natural self. That's in a much more secure place now. And I have strategies from Kendall on how to manage that on a day-to-day basis. So she's essentially helped me change my life, and I'm eternally grateful.
So let's dive into how you can be like Chloe too. The first thing I want to share is you're not healing from a normal breakup and relationship. Therefore, a lot of the advice that you're getting from friends or family who have gone through normal breakups from healthy relationships that have just sort of fizzled or become unaligned, a lot of that advice won't fit for you because you are healing from a toxic relationship. Healing will and needs to look different for you. Time and talking alone or getting under someone else, that will not heal you from these wounds. And we go through this, I'm going to explain why. So let's break down what are the trademarks of a toxic relationship, and maybe noting how many of these you can relate to. The first one, the hot and cold cycle, also known as the abuse cycle. Even if there wasn't any really explicit verbal, physical, emotional abuse, this hot and cold cycle feels like abuse in your nervous system, and that's what you get addicted to, the highs and the lows. It's the inconsistent affection, love bombing, promises, hope. Sometimes they're really good and that's that high and you're feeling on top of the world because today, this week, they're in a good mood. They might do something nice for you, which in reality is really bare minimum. But then out of the blue, it's followed by withdrawal, gaslighting, fights, silent treatment, abuse, and you're back into that low. But you're chasing the high and your nervous system gets so addicted to this cycle. And this in itself is why it is so damn hard to let go. It's why it's so hard to leave. It's why it's so hard to move on. It's often the thing, the nervous system addiction side of it that pulls you back into that person, because that person through this hot and cold cycle, they have made themselves not only the cause of your pain, but the one thing that you have adapted to be the relief from your pain as well. Because when you're in the low, all you want is for them to give you a bit of affection or a half-assed apology or some kind of it's okay reassurance signal, even if it's teeny tiny. But this feels like being trapped on a roller coaster and it fries your nervous system. This is what creates a trauma bond. Another key trademark is manipulation and control, even subtly. It can be subtle things like gaslighting and guilt tripping, jealousy, right up to controlling behavior, saying what you can wear, who you can see, isolating you from your friends or family, betrayal and cheating. You go around walking on eggshells. You just constantly feel on edge, hyper vigilant, in survival mode, unsure of what mood or version you'll get of them that day, that hour, when you try and voice your needs. And as a result, you shrink yourself. You shrink your boundaries, your feelings, your needs. You shrink them. They shrink them. They dismiss them or label you as just too much, too emotional, too sensitive. So you try to become the low maintenance, chill girly, even though it's all eating you up inside, even though you're constantly feeling let down. You silence your voice. And again, you abandon yourself to avoid being abandoned by them. You chase and they withdraw. You're always the one pursuing the reassurance, the attention, the connection, or affection more often than you're receiving it. You lose yourself in chronic self-doubt, second-guessing, feeling like a shell of who you used to be. You pair that with constant self-blame, constant over-apologizing, making things your fault that aren't even your fault. And then you overcompensate and mold and shrink yourself. You basically shift and completely change who you are again in the hope that you can make them choose you and avoid them from discarding you or rejecting you. There's a deep lack of emotional safety and intimacy. There's no real emotional closeness. Deep or emotional conversations cause arguments, so you're left with breadcrumbs of surface level connection, sex, performance. And with all of this going on, especially considering they were probably really nice at the start, you feel so confused and so stuck. Because logically, you know you deserve better, but you feel so unable, so scared, so attached that you can't break the cycle, you can't leave, you can't move on. It's terrifying. You cling onto the hope and their potential. And this was a huge thing for me in my last relationship, was I realized I was actually not in love with him. I was in love with his potential. And it becomes the thing that keeps you attached. It's the thing that it's the life raft that you survive on. Because as long as you can imagine the potential version of them or the relationship, it feels like it's too soon to give up. But you're in love with who you want them to be, not the reality of what they give you. All of these create low self-worth, insecurity. They're all direct triggers to anxious attachment, and it's why you feel like you are living on an emotional roller coaster. That's what a toxic relationship does to you, not just mentally, not just emotionally, but in your nervous system, the foundation of who you are. And I guarantee you've all said, whether it's out loud or thought it to yourself, why does this keep happening to me? Why do I keep ending up back here? Why do I keep calling in the same kind of guy? Even when you're consciously trying to find a good partner, even when you're listening to all the podcasts about dating and relationships, even when you're following all of the tips of dating coaches and experts online, you still keep ending up in the same kind of relationship. You still end up having your heart broken. You still end up feeling like a shell of yourself. It's because of this. You are not consciously repeating this cycle. It's not consciously a choice. You are doing it subconsciously based on how your body has been wired. And what this means is you can't consciously break the cycle. You need to do the deep shadow work to heal what created the foundation of your subconscious beliefs, behaviors, desires, and patterns that you keep looping. You can't just think your way into secure love. You actually have to teach your body how to feel safe in it. Which means all of the dating tips, the red flags lists that you see online, and the manifesting you're being told that you need to do to manifest your dream man, it won't work until you rewire your subconscious programming and your nervous system so your body can actually feel safe and actually be attracted to safe, consistent, emotionally available people and make that its new normal. Because right now, your nervous system is attracted to the opposite. Your nervous system is attracted to the chaos, to inconsistency, to emotional unavailability, maybe even physical unavailability. If you keep finding yourself going for people who maybe live far away or are in other relationships, there's a reason why. And it starts with the foundation of what programmed you to make that your normal. And the deep healing, the healing that will change it all for you, is what I'm going to share with you here. And it's what's going to completely reprogram your nervous system to make safety and security your new normal. I want to next introduce you to another client of mine, Gabby, and she came to me to break her 9-year back-to-back toxic relationship cycle. And she was a really successful woman in business, in all other areas of her life, until it came to relationships, where her anxious attachment ruled everything. But in just 8 weeks of working together, we healed her deep father wounds, her emotional abandonment wounds, and she was confidently feeling like a secure woman. And so it's no wonder, not long after that, I got these messages that she had met her dream secure partner, that she was feeling zero anxiety, zero overthinking, zero confusion. And she said, here, I've never once in my life felt zero anxiety about someone new I'm dating. That is what this work can give you too. So, what are the actual root causes of this? Number one is your parent wounds in your inner child. So your childhood. 9 times out of 10, it stems from your father. I work with women who it also comes from mother wounds as well, but a lot of the time, majority of the time, it's a father wound. And what this means and how this contributes is that when you were growing up, if you were growing up with a parent who was emotionally or physically unavailable, inconsistent, you felt abandoned, whether it was that they physically left your life or your parents got divorced or separated, or whether it was like physically they were around, but emotionally they were checked out, whether you felt rejected or neglected physically or emotionally, if they were highly critical, if their love was conditional on you succeeding in certain things or being a good, well-behaved person, if they were narcissistic, abusive, or toxic in other ways, this is what gives you a parent wound. And what we need to realize is that when you were a child experiencing all of this, your brain had not developed enough to understand context outside of you. Your brain had not developed enough to realize that it wasn't about you, that it was because your parent had their own stuff going on. At that time, at that age, you internalized it. You have to think about, what did your childhood self make the treatment that you did or didn't experience mean about yourself and your worth? Because that right there is what creates your core limiting beliefs that have been programmed into your nervous system. It's programmed into the foundation of who you are, because these are your first experiences of love. And so you subconsciously try and chase to get that love that you never got from your parent through your adult relationships. You're like trying to chase the Band-Aid to fix the wound, to try and fill the void. But that doesn't work. What often happens is that because your nervous system will always want to choose familiarity, because it means that familiarity creates predictability, which means that your brain and your nervous system can work together to keep you safe. One of my favorite quotes ever is, your brain and your body will always choose a familiar hell over an unfamiliar heaven. And so it will chase subconsciously the same kind of relationship dynamic that you had between you and your parent who gave you these parent wounds. You will repeat it because it feels comfortable and familiar. Your brain doesn't see the red flags. Your nervous system goes, it's sweet, we've developed the coping mechanisms. This should be fine, right? And there's that deeper wounded inner child in you that goes, oh, maybe if I can make this person who's like the doppelganger of my dad, if I can make him choose me and love me, then maybe I'll finally feel worthy. Maybe I'll finally feel good enough. Maybe I'll finally feel like I'm deserving of love. Maybe they'll finally fix that in me. They won't, because you're just choosing the same kind of person over and over and over again. The next thing is your relationship blueprint. And everything I've shared about in the parent wounds and inner child feed into this as well. But I want to add another block on top of this here. I want you to think about your parents' relationships, whether it was with your mum and dad together, whether your parents had separated, and if they had other relationships, all of those, taking those into account. What did watching, listening, and being around your parents' relationship teach you about relationships? What did it teach you? What did it model to you that was normal? Because your answer is what your brain and your body interpreted and filed away as normal and familiar. That then creates subconsciously the relationship blueprint that you will go and follow in your relationships. It's the same thing happens for like communication and conflict. You follow what has been modeled to you because your brain has just gone, oh, this is what we have seen the most and first, so this is what must be normal, right? Because when you get plonked on this earth, when you're born, you're basically like a little alien trying to figure it all out. And so what you experience first, that's what your brain and your nervous system goes, oh, cool, okay, this is normal. And so you end up repeating the same toxic behavior, the same toxic attraction patterns, and the same cycles. That's what's been modeled to you because that's what your brain and nervous system are drawn to because it's familiar. Even though, and hands up, who else has said this before? Because I sure as know how I have. Hands up if you have ever said, I never want to date someone like my father. I never am going to marry someone like my father, because you saw how bad he was, how badly he treated you or your mum. You didn't want that. But hands up who has also actually, hindsight being a wonderful thing, dated his mini-me's over and over. Yep, right there with you. It's because of this. And then third, The third component here, the third root cause of why you keep dating the same types of people, ending up in same types of toxic relationships, maybe even escalating in severity, is because you haven't first healed or broken your trauma bond or healed your past toxic relationships before getting into the next one. If you haven't fully processed the past heartbreaks, betrayals, manipulation, emotional neglect, or abuse, your nervous system continues to stay wired for that toxic love. It's like the third block on top of these other two here. You know, that's what your very first relationships experiences are. That's what the blueprint has taught you need to go seek. And now you've got firsthand evidence that it all must be normal, even though it hurts. Even though up here you're going, this isn't right. It doesn't matter what's going on up here. You have to go off what is wired into you here. When you haven't healed properly, it clouds your judgment, which makes it way easier to you to just jump into the next one with the same kind of toxic person because you're not able to be as discerning because you're heartbroken and you're still battling the remnants of the trauma. That is why it is so important for you to do this healing right now, to heal first. So you don't take the shit from your past relationships, from your childhood, from the relationships that were modeled to you into your next one and start this whole cycle all over again. So how do you break your toxic relationship cycle for good? Let me walk you through it. Number one, you've got to heal the root cause. And you do this by addressing the trauma and the wounds that you're still holding on to that created these subconscious patterns of behaviors and beliefs. Those root causes that we just spoke about. You've got to heal the trauma that created them. These are held in your body, imprinted on your nervous system, stored in your subconscious. They're not up here. And this is why you can't talk or think your way out of it. It's because talk therapy doesn't heal trauma, because talk therapy relies on your conscious mind, your conscious memory, your conscious recall. You have to heal it through your body. And so let me introduce you to somatic healing. This is the key modality that I use with my clients. I'm a certified somatic integrative trauma therapist, and this is the foundation of the work that I do with my clients to heal their trauma and break their toxic relationship cycles. And let me do a little quick comparison here. So talk therapy, which a lot of you have probably been to, talk therapy, counseling, a psychologist, those sorts of things. You sit on a couch, you yap, cry. Maybe they tell you, how do you feel? And then you get on your merry way. Probably a lot of you are here because that's only gotten you so far, and this is why. Talk therapy, it takes a top-down, symptom-focused approach. It relies on your conscious mind. It relies on your ability to recall narrative memory. All of this, that's only responsible for like 10% of your day-to-day functioning. Your conscious mind and what you can actually remember, like consciously remember, that's very, very small. The rest of it is subconscious, and that's all stored in your nervous system. Talk therapy is great at giving you insight and understanding and self-awareness, but it doesn't heal trauma. It's why you keep getting triggered by the same thing. It's why you keep looping the same thing over and over and over. Whereas somatic healing, and why it is so widely researched and renowned for being a key modality to actually heal trauma at the root, is because it focuses on the bottom up. It focuses on getting to the root cause. It taps into your subconscious, your nervous system, your body, aka what literally is responsible for your autopilot and your OG programming. It's literally what is responsible for who you are attracted to, the kinds of relationships you get into, the behavior that you tolerate. Somatic healing allows you to access those felt, emotional, visceral memories, which is where the past trauma is held. The amount of clients that have come to me and said, I have no memory from my childhood. And then I've taken them through somatic trauma healing modalities of mine, and they have gone back to memories from when they were 2 years old, a baby, because it all lives in your body. It's just when it's a painful memory, when it is trauma, your conscious brain, in a very protective way, goes, no, we're going to just chuck that in the back. We don't want to be able to remember that. Somatic healing allows you to go digging through those inner filing cabinets right to the back of the room with all the cobwebs and actually process them. Somatic healing creates actual resolution for trauma. It actually allows your nervous system to come out of survival mode and be regulated. Somatic healing is how you heal trauma for good. And in my work, I combine somatic healing with a variety of other modalities. It's why I get my clients results 10 times faster than talk therapy. I'd say like 98% of my clients come to me because they've tried talk therapy and it hasn't worked for them, and they're feeling really hopeless and disheartened and feeling like nothing's going to work for them. And then they come and work with me. And I'm not like a typical talk therapist, psychologist, or other life or mindset coaches. I use specialized, proven trauma healing modalities to clear the trauma from the body at a rapid pace, using somatics, using emotional processing, and energetic clearing. All of these together, focusing on tapping into your body to process the trauma that has been stuck there for years, for decades, for your whole life. That is, you're carrying with you like a burden. And it's continuing to muck with your life. It's continuing to sabotage you. It's blocking you from not only your own happiness, but from having a happy relationship, from having and creating the happy family that you've always dreamed of. It's all because of past unhealed trauma. Other modalities and theories that I pull in from Aruka healing, subconscious reprogramming, hypnosis, NLP, internal family systems or parts theory, EMDR, DBR, and a bunch of others. But these are the key ones, and it is truly life-changing. And I weave this into my Secure Woman method. This is how I get results for my clients. I have worked with over 100 women to heal from toxic relationships, childhood trauma, and it's because of my Secure Woman method. Pillar 1 is healing the root cause. That's where we do all of that incredible somatic shadow work, the somatic trauma healing. All of this is in Pillar 1. This is where you heal the root cause trauma. You overcome abandonment wounds. You dissolve your trauma bond. You heal the trauma from your toxic relationship. You reprogram your subconscious relationship blueprint. You overcome your anxious attachment and start to become secure. And that feeds into Pillar 2, which is where you become secure in yourself first. And this is where you learn to regulate your nervous system with my somatic self-soothing and self-resourcing tools to take you out of the survival mode, the fight, flight, freeze, fawn response that you have been chronically living in, that's been following you around like a dementor. Oh, Harry Potter reference there. I hope you guys got that. This is about not rushing into dating and instead focusing on becoming securely single and at peace on your own, building a life that feels so 10 out of 10 on your own that you don't need a man or a relationship to make you feel worthy, to make you feel safe, to make you feel happy or fulfilled. You create that first for yourself on your own, and trust me, that skyrockets your standards, because when you're living a 10 out of 10 life on your own, why would you even waste your time on some average 5 out of 10 guy who makes you uncertain of where you stand, who is like, love bombs you, then pulls away? Like, why would you settle for that? Why would you let someone disrupt your 10 out of 10 life? You wouldn't. And so on to the next. You don't even give these guys a look, and you don't even give them an opportunity, because you're like, why would you? And this leads us into Pillar 3, which is changing the pattern. This is where you take radical responsibility for your past patterns and making sure you're doing differently, but you're not blaming yourself. You're learning from it so that you can start dating as a secure woman using my empowered dating method. So you can spot red, orange, green flags and respond accordingly. No more putting on blinders, no more pretending that those red flags aren't there. You're upholding high standards, non-negotiables, firm boundaries. This is how you call in your dream secure partner, with my full support along the way. And I want to introduce you to another client, Stacey. She came to me to heal from her divorce after 15 years in a toxic marriage. She'd stayed for so long because of her trauma bond, begging, chasing, hoping he would finally choose her and her family, their children, and return to the man that she fell in love with, but he never did. And so with me, she finally was able to feel and process her grief, anger, disappointment, all of which had been brewing in her for years. We broke her trauma bond, healed her anxious attachment, and she became securely single. And then 6 months ago, she met the southern gentleman of her dreams. And she's in her 40s. Just by the way, age is but a number. You can absolutely find the love of your life at any age. She did this through my Secure Woman method, where I take women from being anxiously attached, insecure, shrinking yourself to be chosen by 2 out of 10 guys who treat you like shit, from being terrified of being alone and just wanting to be wanted, from back-to-back toxic relationships and situationships that always end in heartbreak, from feeling drowned by your emotions because you don't know how and you don't trust yourself to feel them alone. So you avoid, you numb, you doom scroll, you panic, you outsource, and you think a guy is going to fix it. Not in my world. We turn that around. With my Secure Woman method, you become secure on your own, in your life, in dating and relationships. You become confident, authentic, unapologetic, because you genuinely love yourself. And you know you will never, ever, ever settle for less than you deserve ever again. Becoming secure in yourself makes you a magnet for secure, emotionally mature, safe, healthy, masculine men who are genuinely ready to find their person. They are ready for genuine commitment. They adore you. The relationship you've always dreamed of. This is how you are able to now hold yourself through whatever curveballs life throws your way, because life is always going to life, because you have the tools and you trust yourself that you can hold yourself through anything. This is what it means to become a secure woman. This is what the women in my world are doing. I've introduced you to a few of them here, just a few of them, and it's what's possible for you too. They aren't different, they aren't better or luckier than you. The one thing they all have in common is that they said enough is enough. And they went all in on investing their time, their money, their energy into doing the deep healing that they did with me. They chose to face and sit in short-term discomfort for long-term peace and happiness. And now they are reaping the rewards. And right now, you are standing at that same fork in the road that they were. Behind you, the woman who has spent far too many years being trapped and settling in toxic relationships. But ahead of you are 3 paths, 3 choices. Path 1 is to keep trying to do it on your own, using ChatGPT as your therapist, podcasts on repeat, another red flag carousel saved to your Instagram that you never ever go and look at again. But if that was working, because that's probably what you've been trying already, you probably wouldn't be here watching this. The loneliness, the anxiety, the fear gets too loud. And so you've either done this or you will message your ex, check his socials, download the apps, fall back into old patterns, make slow, messy progress over the next 6, 12, 18 months. Maybe for you, it's been literally 6, 12, 18 months of messy progress. And you'll either stay stuck right where you are now, or worse, you'll wake up in another toxic relationship or another heartbreak all over again, kicking yourself that you didn't take action now. I know you don't want that. And so what's the next path? Is my Secure Woman Era 6-month mastermind. And this is my signature hybrid program combining private coaching and an intimate group container that takes you from anxious and heartbroken to secure, empowered, and a magnet for the partner of your dreams. This is the container where we combine the depth of one-on-one coaching. The first 6 weeks of this program are private one-on-one coaching. And we combine that with the magic, honestly, the magic and the power of healing inside an intimate container of like-minded women who get it, who see you, who hear you, who understand you, because they too have been through it. We do live trauma healing. We do workshops. You get hot seat coaching. I guide somatic release journeys and deep integration work together. Me as your coach for 6 whole months. Imagine what is possible. Or we have path 3, which is my VIP private coaching. And this is the closest, deepest, most personalized way to work with me. It's pure one-on-one with every ounce of my attention and focus on you, all of my coaching and healing modalities tailored specifically to what you need for either 3, 6, or 12 months. This is for the woman who knows she does her deepest work in a one-on-one space, who knows that she wants close proximity, you know that you want all of my attention for you. You are ready to invest at the highest level for the most VIP experience. And I mean VIP experience. It's often best situated to women who have layered or complex trauma, or women who want maximum flexibility around scheduling and access to make sure you get to book private calls with me at the times that work best for you. So these are your options. And only you are the one with the power to choose where you'll be in the next 1, 3, 6, 12 months' time, based on what you choose to do from this moment. Now it's your turn. These are, again, some more recent testimonials that I've just snipped here from clients who have worked with me in my group containers and one-on-one containers. And it's your turn. I want you to be one of these success stories that I am hyping up. And you can absolutely be that, but it depends on what you do now. So if all of this is landing, is speaking to you so deeply, and you're like, I need to do this work, I want to do this work, I want to invite you to book in a free breakthrough call. This is a free 45-minute Zoom call where you and I will jump on face-to-face and dive deeper into whether my work is right for you, if I'm the right person to support you, and how I can support you to break your toxic relationship cycle for good, heal your childhood and past relationship trauma, become a secure woman in yourself, dating and relationships, and call in the partner of your dreams. It's an opportunity for you to ask questions, discuss payment plans, and map out your next identity upgrade as a woman so that you can stop being treated like shit by 2 out of 10 toxic men, so that you can call in the love of your life. If you want to book that, there's a button below. Click that to book in a slot, and I cannot wait to talk to you. Spaces are very limited. I only have limited spaces in my world, so I can't wait to speak to you.